When we were first made aware that Lauren went missing on June 19th, I feel like my heart stopped.
There's no pain like this.
I certainly don't believe that Lauren just got up and left. We were constantly in contact.
Lauren was clean. She was sober for almost 2 years, and she was in the midst of trying to get custody of her daughter.
She would not just get up and walk away from her. The last conversation I had with Lauren was on the evening of Thursday, June 18th. We had tentatively made plans to talk the next day, and I've never heard from her ever since.
The boyfriend said he woke up on Friday morning, the 19th, kissed her goodbye and went to work, and that was the last time he saw her. My daughter Lauren never ever missed calling me on Father's Day, and when I did not hear from her on that day, I knew it was gonna be bad.
Lauren did have the tendency to hang out with the wrong crowd of people.
I believe foul play has been involved due to the fact that there was numerous lies her boyfriend had told me. It wasn't a healthy relationship that she was in.
The most difficult part of this is just having no answers. We live every day still asking who, what, where, when, and why.
I believe people in her circle know what's happened to my daughter. I absolutely do believe that someone may have paid off somebody to kill my daughter. We're talking about murder for hire.
If we don't keep pushing Lauren's story and keep getting her face and her name in front of people, they're going to forget about her. And if they forget about her, then we don't find her.
I would like to believe my daughter was alive. Do I believe it? No.
I'm just sad and tired, and it's exhausting.
Until I find out what's happened to my daughter, I will never give up.
Well, Paul, Cassie, this has got to be just absolutely draining and heart-wrenching for the two of you.
Yes.
The biggest red flag for you, Paul, was that Father's Day no call.
No call.
Because that was one thing she didn't miss no matter what.
Ever. I knew it was bad.
You knew something there.
Yeah.
You said that you hope against hope that she's alive, but intellectually you believe if she was, she would have found a way to reach out to you by now.
Absolutely. One of us, you know, Lauren was the oldest of 6 of my daughters. I have 6 daughters. She was the oldest. Plus she has a daughter of her own, and she would have definitely reached out to one of us.
You say that she's been clean and sober for 2 years. What was she involved in before then?
She was in a car accident when she was younger, and they put her on a pain management, which started out as Percocet and led all the way up to heroin.
So do you think maybe she opened herself up to somebody that was dangerous, that she shouldn't have trusted or tried to help?
Yes, I think a lot of times when you're in that lifestyle or you've been through that lifestyle, you're more open to allowing others in that lifestyle to be a part of your life because you think that you can be an assistant to them.
Having been involved in forensic psychology for all of my career, as I go back and do psychological autopsies on things, where you go back and break things down, I found that these things almost never happen in isolation, almost never come out of the blue. When you go back and deconstruct them, there's a buildup, there's a chain of events. When you look back, were there any things you can point to now that would predict this happening? Any relationships, people?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Lauren was dealing with her own mental health problems during that month where she went missing. She had claimed to feel that she was being followed. She felt that she was being watched. She had told us that. She said that, you know, she felt like something terrible was going to happen. My sister Lauren has been missing for 497 days. It has been since June 19th, 2020 that somebody has last seen Lauren DeMolo. Here we are at Lauren's apartment. This was where she was living at the time of her disappearance. On the evening of June 18th, I actually spoke with Lauren at 6:30 in the evening while she was at her apartment. At the end of that call, we just said, I love you, like we always do. The next morning, Lauren and I were supposed to talk at like 10, 11 in the morning. I had reached out to her multiple times with no response. Lauren's boyfriend called my father the evening of June 19th. He said, I kissed her goodbye in the morning at 6 a.m. and when I returned home at 10 p.m., she wasn't there. I just felt in my heart that something was wrong. It's not like Lauren to not be in contact with us, especially if we're supposed to have plans to chat. We are here at Four Freedoms Park, which is very significant to Lauren's case. She came here to meditate. This is where she would ground herself. This was her happy place. Right here where we're located is where her belongings were found. It was here on Atlantic Court, just 1 block from Lauren's apartment, that on the morning of June 19th at 8:15 in the morning, a local maintenance man claims to have seen Lauren walking from the direction of the park toward her apartment. So this may actually be the last person to have seen Lauren prior to her disappearance. So we're here in front of where our mother used to live on Tarpon Court, which is right across the street from the Four Freedoms Park. On the evening of July 20th, Cape Coral Police Department met here in this park with cadaver dogs. And on that evening, the cadaver dogs led them actually across the street here directly to our mother's apartment. A lot of red flags started being raised, a lot of coincidences surrounding Lauren's disappearance.
Okay, now let's talk about this park a little bit. Why would she go to the park? You said she meditated there, but
So this park was only about 2 blocks from her house. Lauren didn't have her driver's license. She didn't drive. It's a very serene park.
so it's 6 minutes, 3/10 of a mile from her apartment to the park. And now, what happened on June 1st? Because she was there June 1st, and some citizens just called in, and she was Baker acted.
Correct.
Correct.
What was she doing that was serious enough that they involuntarily committed her to a psychiatric ward?
What I was originally told was that she jumped into the water, into the basin at Four Freedoms Park. Came back out. Some people that were in the park noticed that her behavior wasn't right, called the police. Cape Coral police came. She jumped back into the water when she saw the police, is what I was told. And then they told her, you need to get out of the water. There's gators in the water. You need to get out of there. But then I actually come to find out in retrospect that she didn't jump into the water from Four Freedoms Park. She was actually across the other side of the basin where there was a hotel on that corner. And there's a hotel on that corner across. There's the basin. Then there's a slip where you can park your boats. And there was a parking lot in the back. She actually jumped in the water from there and swam to Four Freedoms Park like she was trying to get away from somebody.
Lauren had been battling some mental health issues during the month of June. Lauren was Baker acted here in the park because she was found swimming here in the basin. Her statements were that she felt like she was being followed, like somebody was out to get her. She was placed in a mental health facility for 8 days. She was released, and then again, she was Baker acted on June 15th and released on June 18th.
She's never had any type of paranoid or delusional thoughts. This was not like her at all. I asked her straight up, are you using again, Lauren? And she said, no, Dad, I promise you I'm not.
Looking back when she was telling us that she felt that she was being followed, I wish that we had taken that a little more seriously.
I think the boyfriend knows everything about what happened to my daughter. I think he knows from beginning to end and everything in between.
Well, we reached out to Lauren's boyfriend for a comment, but he has not responded to our calls. We have confirmed with the police that he has been what they say is 100% cooperative, that he did take a polygraph test, and that he did pass. This, you say this is a tough case. What makes this one so hard?
Well, first and foremost, I mean, there's a lot of different dynamics so far that you've touched on in Lauren's case. We have the narcotics element, we have the boyfriend, issue, we have the issue of her being Baker acted. So, it's not your typical cut and dry case.
There were some things found in the park in terms of her personal effects. Anything that tells you, anything that people should know, anybody that maybe going through the park. I'm just trying to jog people's memory. Maybe they remember something when they see these things. Is it possible those were planted? Did she leave those there? What do y'all make of that?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, in any case, when you're dealing with hypotheticals or probabilities, like you had said, is it possible that somebody put that stuff there? Yes, of course. Anything is possible.
Right.
Unfortunately, in this situation, this wasn't the first time where Lauren had left belongings behind in the park. So something like that really isn't out of the ordinary, or wasn't out of the ordinary for her.
Right.
Alarming, yes. When I got the missing persons report on my desk, and then to immediately find out later, shortly thereafter, that her purse and her belongings were located in that park, that's when I immediately upgraded it to a missing endangered person.
A lot of these tips are, coming from people who don't want to speak with the police for a variety of reasons. And they'll call me and they'll provide me with some tips. Over the last year, I've received numerous tips from people. There were individuals involved in Cape Coral who were charged with disposing of a deceased body after she OD'd. They're trying to tie that into Lauren's disappearance. The girlfriend of the one individual who was charged in that told me that, yes, he knows what's going on, but you're not going to find Lauren. She's 50 miles out into the Gulf of Mexico. And, so there are different types of leads that I'm trying to put together on this.
Okay. Now, there have been cadaver dogs that have been involved here, and Lauren's mother and boyfriend's apartment have been involved, and we're looking at a graphic here, and you did get a hit with the cadaver dogs in searching for Lauren. Detective Jones, was there a hit at the apartment and in the park as well?
At the apartment there was, but after that, coming to learn a little bit more about cadaver dogs and what their capabilities are, what they can do. There's two types of cadaver dogs. There's a cadaver dog that will only alert to human remains, and then there's cadaver dogs that will alert to any sort of human decomp. So that would also include human waste or excrement. There is a possibility that the dog could have alerted to human excrement, which could have come from a toilet demo, anything that was in his van, his construction work van.
As Detective Jones says, we don't want this to be forgotten. We want people to remember this and think about it. And I really hope that you guys know that you honor her by being here, you honor her by continuing this search, and you will honor her by living your lives and not putting your lives on hold forever. That doesn't mean you forget her, that you ever forget her. You keep looking and all, but by the same token, she would want you to live your lives fully and just honor her in your memory. And we come up to the holidays and stuff. I always tell people, even if you don't know or if you've lost someone, don't pretend that they're not missing. Talk about them. Give your feelings a voice. The worst thing you can do is suffer in silence. Talk about her, share about her, tell stories about her. Give your feelings a voice. And you're certainly honoring her by being here and putting this spotlight on it. And that's why we wanted to take this hour and devote it to your daughter and your sister.
We thank you very much for that. Really.
It's just my honor to do so.
Here where we're located, her belongings were found. I personally feel that her items were planted.
Cadaver dogs have been involved. Was there a hit? What was she doing that was serious enough that they involuntarily committed her to a psychiatric ward?
New Dr. Phil. Check your local listings.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.